So it says the Hangout is now live, and so we should have me on camera very shortly. Just watching the laptop, making sure that it's connecting, and we'll see what's going on. Can you hear me out there? And we'll just invite Beth in as well. There we go. So we're getting some of the sound. Hey, Suzanne, good to see you there. And we're just waiting to see if any of our other coach members are going to join into the participant area. There, looks like we're bringing Tracy in. Yay for Tracy.
Hey, Dave.
I'm seeing you. We'll see if you get up into the participant list. There you are. You're up there as well. And Beth may be wanting to do the same thing. So where are you coming in from today, Tracy?
I'm in Portland, Oregon.
Whoa, way on the other side of the world. What's it like in Portland?
Oh, it's beautiful. They've had a really hot summer, kind of the opposite of Denver.
Ah.
And it's dried out here. It's usually very lush, but the temperatures are pretty nice right now, today in the 70s.
Well, that's not too bad. I think our weather is going to be into the, let's see, we're about 38, so that's in the high 90s coming in tomorrow and the weekend. So we've been in the high 70s in the Toronto area for a couple of days, but we're going to get a big boost from the west. So I guess they're tired of the weather and they sent it our way.
There you go. I guess so.
I think so. And Beth, I see you're in the film strip. Can you hear us?
I can, thank you.
And are you in Chicago today?
I am in Chicago.
And what's it like there?
It's getting hotter. It's supposed to be about 86 today and around 90 tomorrow through the weekend.
Oh, yes, indeed. So we're back into a little bit more summer. That's good.
Yes.
This is good. Getting more viewers coming into the group. I see them joining us. So what's new in the worlds of Tracy and Beth? And Jeanette's out there and Suzanne's out there. How is everyone doing?
Okay.
Everyone's okay, yeah.
I'm okay, you're okay, right?
That's for sure. It's funny because in the last couple of weeks... Oops, go ahead. Just jump in.
No. Go ahead, Dave.
No, I was going to say it's just the last couple of weeks everyone's been on holidays. They've been recovering and regrouping and getting ready. People are now getting their fall programs together and things are starting to move. People are coming back into the work world, but they've been out there on their holiday period the last couple of weeks. Did you guys get any vacation?
Yes, I have been away quite a bit. I spent some time with my family, and now I'm out in Portland for a wedding of a dear friend from college. And so, yeah, I'm in that mode a little bit myself. That's why I haven't been with you guys.
We've missed you.
I've missed you too. And I invited someone to join us today, Dave, and it sounds like she's having trouble getting in.
Oh.
I just forwarded my email to her. Is there anything special she needs to do?
Just has to press the button and come in as Google or Facebook or LinkedIn, or just put an email address and she'll be in the viewers list. What is her name?
Well, I'm not sure.
For her to show up.
Her name is Casey Shank.
Well, yeah, there's a Casey who's in the viewers area now. Came in, I can't see it. I think it's a LinkedIn address that Casey used, but Casey's there. Can you hear us, Casey?
Okay.
Over on the right-hand side is a little red ball with a plus in it. Oh, someone's got the phone going in the background. So, Casey, if you can, I'll just send you a message there on the side. Hi, Casey. Is that you, Beth, or you, Tracy, that I'm hearing in the background?
Yeah, well, I was texting Casey because she just let me know that she was having trouble getting in, so I just wanted to see.
Yep, it looks like she just dropped out. Because she was in the viewer list, so.
Well, we'll see if she joins, and if not,
yeah,
that's okay.
Well, she can get to the replay, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you,
I agree,
Jen.
Jeanette.
I agree too.
How, it's so strange because I certainly wasn't a very patient and calm person prior to cancer. It's one of those benefits of going through a Category 27 hurricane. You come out the other end and nothing bothers you anymore. I mean, how could it possibly be any worse than it was a couple of years back? So, my attitude is just enjoy the moment, enjoy the day, and particularly on these Hangouts, this is just a group of friends hanging out. It's office hours. I wish everyone had a nice wine cooler beside you and just hang in there. Oh, Casey is typing. So you can hear us, Casey. This is great. That's great. We can't get you into the film strip because you didn't come in with your Google account, and only people with Google can turn on their cameras or microphones. But you can certainly text chat, and we're watching what's going on. Anything in particular, Tracy or Beth or Jen, that you want to talk about before I start to share some of the information I found in the last couple of weeks?
No, I don't think anything's coming immediately to mind, but I'll jump in if there's anything as you start.
Well, Tracy, I tried to give you an opportunity, but you're such a shy person. Your book is there. Your book with Thunderclap is in the final first run printing. And for those of you that have not read Tracy's book, you've got to get it. And I'm going to let Tracy tell a little bit about this book because I think it's an amazing tool. It's being single with cancer. It's the only one of its kind out there. So why don't you tell people a little bit about your book and why they've got to get it right now?
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, I'm always conscious of plugging personal stuff on here, but
Sure.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Yeah, I did just launch a Thunderclap campaign, which is basically an online social media tool to allow people to support the campaign. It's like crowdsourcing, but instead of raising money, I'm trying to raise social media followers and people who will allow me to post on August 24th about the one-year anniversary of my book, Being Single with Cancer, which details kind of my personal story of going through cancer as a single person, the stories of many other people who have had that same experience, and some great tips and advice about how to navigate the cancer journey, maybe without a built-in support system. So if you go to Thunderclap, the address or the name of my campaign is Solo, Surviving, and Thriving. And you basically are just signing up and agreeing to have a post, and the post is right there, what will go out on either your Facebook or Twitter account or Tumblr on August 24th that promotes the one-year anniversary of my book. And my goal is, it's not the final printing, as Dave said, but it's the first print run of my book, and my goal is to sell it out by the one-year anniversary. which is coming up at the end of this month. So yeah, thanks for the opportunity to promote that. And Thunderclap is a great tool. You may go sign up and find that you have something similar that you could promote through it. So I recommend it as a cancer coach. It might be a good tool for you to promote an upcoming campaign or event or book or something similar as well.
That sounds great. Thanks so much for the information. I'll definitely go out and sign up for you.
Thank you.
I mean, that's one of the nice things about Thursday Hangout. It's an opportunity to share resources to all the other coaches. I mean, the whole point of having these meetings is so that we can help one another grow and have new knowledge to share with our cancer patients and survivors that we're working with. And, you know, working with single cancer patients and survivors is a difficult task. There are some special issues that people who do not have a significant other in their life really face. And Tracy took this challenge on and wrote an incredible book, but more importantly, she wrote a book that's really a workbook. So if you're a coach who does have clients that are single, you can use her book as a workbook with your client to sort out the issues and help them deal with the issues that they're facing. It's not just you know, a nice read and wow, I picked up a couple of good points out of it. It's a good working tool. And those of you that are either now or in the future thinking of singles as being part of your market, then you've got to connect with Tracy because she is the expert in this area. And I'll give you another chance, Tracy. You've got a workshop, a training program underway right now that you might want to tell people about.
Yeah, and not actually right this minute, but one coming up in September. I teach a 5-week course on being enough, and it's really based on content from my book. It's not just for single cancer survivors, but for anyone who is interested in being part of that. And yeah, the next one starts on September 2nd, and there's information on my website at iamtracymaxwell.com. And Dave, you might be talking about the group coaching program that I launched for single survivors, which is, again, I think with vacation time and summer busyness, hasn't quite taken off. So I'm thinking about kind of reworking that a little bit and figuring out a new way to relaunch it in the fall when people have a little more time to focus on it. So thanks for the opportunity to talk about that, and it's a little bit on hold at the moment, but I do have the other 5-week course coming up September 2nd.
That's terrific because there's so many things that people are having happen over the summer, and then they're bringing them into the fall, and you know, want to share that. And again, everyone knows that we've got our active members today, but then we've got all the folks who watch us on the replay. And Jeanette is there in the audience. I think there's an opportunity for Jeanette to talk about a couple of things that she's got going with the National Association of Professional Cancer Coaches. She unfortunately doesn't have her mic on, but she can type it up. I think, Jeanette, you've got a retreat coming up in September that might still have some space available in it. And then there are some training programs that you're offering to the NAPCC members, and certainly if you're not certified as a National Association Professional Cancer Coach, you've got to talk to Jeanette about that as well, because there's a lot of value in the educational program that her PCCI division is offering. And lots of growth there too. Jeanette just brought on a new president who's taking the reins of some activity and pushing it forward. So we've got some growth on that side as well. So I recommend to everyone watching now or in the replay to make contact with Jeanette, because Jeanette has quite an investment in great content that if you're interested in nutrition and lifestyle and integrative oncology cancer protocols, this is the place to go. And you've got to take a look at the PCCI program. It's cancercoachprogram.com. You've got to look at it as well. Anything you want to put in the text chat, Jen? Make sure that everyone's got your links and places to go look for what you're doing. Anyone know about anything else that's going on? No, no one's jumping right in. So, unfortunately, it takes about 40 seconds from the time the question on the screen gets to the audience, and then they get to type the question. So they may jump in as we keep talking.
It seems to me that things have been really quiet this summer. And I'm looking forward to the fall so that that is a much more active time for people. As you said, so many people are on vacation or holiday through the summer and playing, having fun. So everybody, I think there's an ingrained sort of school calendar mentality that we develop because of all those years of schooling, and it kind of hangs on into adulthood.
Well, that's for sure. But the unfortunate thing is cancer patients don't take the summer off.
That's
They're
right.
struggling every day of their treatment program and their transition to survivorship. So even though we may need a break, the demands of our audiences are still very much there. I was just up at my local cancer clinic last week, and the chemo lab was just full. I mean, we had 200 people in there in active programs. There was no difference in my perspective of how it was there or last year. It's a busy time in the clinics. So it's
Having a second something they might be injured, and you have a report set up for when they are injured. So
what? Can you
really
just mute yourself there, Tracy? So that yeah, there we go. So we don't get the sound coming back in. So yeah, I mean that's one of the things that I find with small business is, particularly if you're small business, you don't have a steady flow of clients, and so you sort of have this attitude, well, it's summer, everyone's away, and so where am I going to find people to work with? As I was just saying, that market doesn't dry up in the summer because it's vacation time. So there's always people to talk to, and but we do need our time off to recharge ourselves. So that's so true, and some of the educational programs and formal things are slowed down a bit. But I like to have these Thursday afternoon sessions just to hang out and share ideas and new information to people. And that really was what I was saying in the letter I sent to everybody. You may not be aware of the cancer registry, the cancerexperienceregistry.com. The group is a very interesting part of a group called the Cancer Support Community. I think you're unmuted again, Tracy. So
yes.
You can just, yeah, there you go. Just mute that sound in the background. And what they do is constantly monitor people who are coming in or at certain stages in their cancer program. And they collect information about patients and survivors as they join the registry. Right now, it's about 7,400 people that are have decided to become part of this community as a patient or survivor. And when you join, it's free. There's no obligation. You spend about 30 minutes to 45 minutes with a series of questionnaires, which you can take over time. You don't have to sit there and do everything in 45 minutes. I spent 45 minutes to do it just to get a sense for, how comprehensive really was it. But you can break it up. And then from all those people who are putting information in, they report back to oncology departments, to coaches, to clinics, to people who are interested in hearing, so what do cancer patients and survivors think about. What are their issues? How do they feel about their treatment program? How do they feel about, if they're a survivor and it's been a couple of years since their treatment program, how did they feel about it back then? Has their life changed at all today? It's a really interesting group of people, and I think I'm going to just see if it actually pops up. It does. There we go. It allows me to add that into the Google Drive, and I'm just putting into the text chat the actual PDF report that they put out, and there it is, the registry results.pdf. And if you click on that link, you'll see all the information that they have published from the last group of 7,300 people that they have interviewed. The report, if you come back, if you're watching this as a replay, just on the top of that unified chat, text chat area, there's a file box. So if the link doesn't show up, it'll be stored in that file box so that you can get at it. And certainly, if you have any difficulty looking at the report, just give me a shout, and I'll send the PDF file out to you. And they do this periodically. And then, because they have such a nice piece of data, a lot of researchers, a lot of the hospitals and clinics who have research departments pull apart that data, because there's psychological data, there's temperament data, there's demographic information, and they start breaking it down into various reports. What do people who are, in their 60s and older feel about cancer? What do single people under 25 feel about cancer? How are they handling it all? And the results are not surprising to you as a professional cancer coach. You know that when you talk to your clients, they have a lot of concerns. They have a lot of issues. They really are concerned. In fact, let me see if I can share my screen. See if I'm really fancy today. I'm loading files, and see if I can load the screen, because I put some of the data together, and let's hope, yeah, there it is. It shows up, and hopefully it will show up on the screen. I don't think,
yeah, it's showing up with all of the stress reduction, diet, nutrition, exercise, mobility, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's great. So it's actually being there. So I just brought it up a little bit. Let me bring it down a bit so you can read some of the area. So what's interesting is 40, depending on the age group, and you can look at the studies and the breakdown, 40 to 60% of that let's call them 7,500 people, want more help. 40 to 60% want more help in these kinds of areas. And it's not a surprise that nutrition and diet are a major area. I mean, that's one of the reasons why Jeanette is spending a lot of time on building educational programs around that area. But the other areas are equally important. The whole area of stress and wellness is something that has many components to it. Whether you have a fear of reoccurrence, or whether you have anxiety and depression, or you're dealing with loss and grief, all the things that as a coach you've seen, are now coming out in the studies that show, yes, this is true, that what we're seeing with our own individual client groups really is, in truth, the issues generally among those groups. And I went through some of the sub-studies that came out of this group and found a lot of the statistical information, if anybody really wants to look at that. because I felt that one of the difficulties that cancer coaches have expressed to me is when they're out there looking for a client, they're trying to solve a problem and want the client to actually pay a fee for the kind of help that you're going to provide. And at times, it's difficult to decide, well, what is it that I'm going to do to help that cancer patient? Because they don't just want to buy your time, they want a solution to the issues that they're facing. So with this kind of list of formal research studies, you don't just have to say, well, I think these are the issues that most cancer patients have, and let's take a look at what you as my prospective client are dealing with. You can look at it quite scientifically and decide what is it that you're going to specialize in. You know, are you going to be dealing with body image issues, that your client group are people with breast cancer and body image is an issue? But again, people who have colon cancer, they end up with ostomies, whether it's colostomy or urostomy or ileostomy, they end up with an appliance. And there's a body image issue around that. And so when you deal with that kind of client, you can say, oh, okay, I'm looking for those kinds of clients to work with because I've done the research, I understand the issues, I understand the solutions, and I have a program that can help you deal with that. As Tracy has said, hey, I've got the singles area, and there's a bunch of issues that they face, and I'm going to be the specialist in that. Now, that's not to say you won't take people outside of that domain, but when you build your marketing programs, it's a lot easier to build a program that specifically relates to the needs of a particular group than it is to be a generalist. And frankly, most people don't want to deal with generalists. I mean, think of your own cancer programs. You want to deal with the specialist in the field that you are going to deal with. I had a specialist in GI. I had a specialist in urology. I had a specialist for my liver issues. I had a team of specialists that I wanted. I didn't want one person that had a little bit of knowledge about it all. I had a team that was there to try and help me deal with the problems that were in my mind. And now if I'm going out to look at to be a coach, I think you might want to start considering what is the expertise that you bring. And maybe, as we said a week or so ago, you can find other cancer coaches who are specialists in other areas and work together as a team. So if you really understand flashbacks and PSD issues and everything that's surrounding chemo brain, then you've got something extra special to bring to that particular program that you're working with a client, whereas someone else might be really focused on the spiritual issues that come out of the journey that the patient is going to run through. And you can join together or bring them in onto a couple of sessions. But the point that I'm trying to make is there are many, many specific issues that cancer patients are quite defining about. When they fill out the questionnaires, they have a scale system of talking about, is it of concern to them, and to what degree of concern is it to them. And where something like, oh, sure, I'm concerned about anxiety and worrying and so on at a very general level, but when you drill down, you're able to suddenly discover what in particular is that particular patient really, really concerned about. So take a look at that study. Well, not a study, it's a report. They've gone through an investigation of it. And if you haven't, join into that community and complete the questionnaires yourself so that you get a sense of what's being asked, and it also helps you in deciding what are you going to do about it. I worked with a couple of cancer coaches over the last few weeks who were trying to decide, how do I go out and find new business? It's the fall coming up. I want some new clients, so they asked me to help them design a marketing program to uncover where the market is and how could they find clients to work with. And this report came out of the discussions I had with them of saying, okay, now we want to generate leads of those kinds of people who are dealing with these issues beyond just the standard, oh, I'm concerned about finances or I'm concerned about my general emotions. You can start to drill down because that's where the patient is. They're not at a high level. They are actually dealing with detailed information, and you as a coach can really solve a problem. So let me stop there and see if there are any comments or questions from our audience or Tracy and Beth here on the microphones.
I think this study and this group sounds fabulous because I haven't found any data per se that answers the kinds of questions that I have, and sometimes I'm not even sure how to position the question online to do a search. So to have this as a starting point sounds fabulous.
That's terrific. I certainly was amazed that it was there, and there's no cost to it. A lot of this research studies, you know, you end up spending hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to buy the analysis of the reports. But here, because it's from a nonprofit, they're gathering live data, which really got me keen because there are 50 organizations in the U.S. That invite the cancer patients in their clinics and hospitals to complete this questionnaire. And you, in fact, your clients invite them to complete the questionnaire and to gather the latest data. You know, they're going to end up with 10, 15, 20,000 cancer patients and survivors telling them exactly what it is they want help in. Now, you know, that is just amazing to me. If I'm in the business of selling my coaching services, man, what a bonus to know exactly what somebody wants and clearly have it defined so that I can build my sales and marketing approach around it. That is such a gift to you as a coach.
It's huge.
Yeah, I mean, it just blew me away that it's sitting right there. It's been out for a couple of years, and they keep updating it all the time. But this last release was a summary of all the data to September 2014. So it's only a year out of date, and not even that. Well, yeah, close to it now. But then they'll be releasing a new version of the latest data on top of that. So participate in them. Read that report and bring your comments about it next week. How do you feel about that, Tracy? Do you think it's of any value?
Amazing. Yeah, what a great resource. Thank you for sharing it, Dave. And, you know, I did a small survey. It was 100 people.
Yes.
When I was initially starting to work with single survivors just to find out what their issues were. And I've gone back to that again and again. I mean, I've never gone back and updated it. And maybe I should. That's actually giving me a good idea to go survey 100 more people and see if the issues are still the same. But that played a huge role in what information made it into my book, into even the fact that I wrote a book, because they said one of their needs was a book about being single with cancer. So that was part of the reason I was so motivated to write it. And I'll just give a general plug for the cancer support community, too, especially as a tool for coaches, because I hadn't been very familiar with them, but I'd done some work with Gilda's Club locations, and in some places they're connected.
That's correct.
And affiliated with each other. And when I was going to be out in San Francisco in the spring, just on a personal mission, I reached out to the cancer support community in the area and said, hey, can I come by and do some work with the single cancer survivors in your local network, in your community? And they said, oh my gosh, we would love that. We just started a support group for single survivors, and we would love to have you come do a workshop. So they invited me in. We had about 8 people who came, and we had a wonderful 2-hour discussion. And they don't allow you to sell anything, so I couldn't sell my books on site, but it was really wonderful to connect with my audience at their location, and of course they're happy to have experts in the field come and provide wonderful content for their participants. So it's a great resource for coaches to reach out to if you have one in your area.
Yeah, they are a good group, And I'm amazed over the last few months as I've started looking at resources of the numbers of people that are available out there to help us. We just have to reach out and do it. And I guess that's part of what I do when I work with a cancer coach and help them generate more business is how are you going to generate leads? I mean, it's a big issue of what are all the things that I can do to get people to know about me, because it's all about getting known and getting trusted and getting remembered so that you get your business. And when you get to a support group who say, come and speak to me, well, that's only one thing. I mean, there are things that we can do in writing, there are things that we can do in person, there are things that we can do online. And part of the beginning of getting your fall marketing program together is to organize all these different kinds of areas that are available to you into something that you're comfortable with. You may not be comfortable in blogging a lot, or you may not be comfortable in using Facebook or LinkedIn or Google. You may be like me. I like to talk. I like to put on videos. I like to put on podcasts. I relate more to the media where I can be spontaneous and talk than to spend the hours, in my case, that it takes to actually put written material together. But you have to decide, what does your audience want to do? And ideally, some of your audience wants to read about what you have to say. Others want to listen to you talking about it. Others want you to want to watch you talk about it on video. So with all of these variety of techniques that are available to you, you've got to try and come up with an approach that maximizes your interest and the needs of your audience, so that when you get reports like the one I just mentioned to you, you can look at all that information and decide, how will I tell everybody about it so that they know that I exist? And that lead generation chart I just showed is, a good thing to keep by your that says, well, am I going to do it this way or the other way? You've got to do something to let people know that you're in business, that you are a supplier of an incredibly valuable service, because if you don't do anything, they can't find you. And some of the coaches that I'm working with right now really are sitting back and quite frustrated because they can get one or two clients to work with, and the only thing that they can do is try to do a speaking engagement or to do some kind of group training. And they're not very good at maximizing their image out there in the community because they haven't really thought of all of the techniques and then trying to mash them back into something that fits well. It's like a suit of clothes. Not every suit of clothes fits you. Not everything that you bought 5 years ago still fits you. It's what have you got in your closet that fits you today? And so which of all these lead generation techniques are appropriate for what you want to do in the fall coming around the corner? And then you work backwards and say, well, now how am I going to spread the information? And that often is the second problem that people ask. Okay, I get some ideas of what I could do to get attention, but what am I going to talk about? And I say, well, here's a study with all these kind of results. I mean, boy, could you ever get a lot of press in your local communities or wherever you want to be visible talking about what cancer patients are saying they need. Boy, the media would just eat that right up. So you can use all these tools in very creative ways. And obviously, if you can't connect the dots, give me a call, and I'll see if I can help you and get you pointed in the right direction. It's hard being a solopreneur. You don't have all the skills. You don't have all the resources. But they're all out there. You just need to connect them together and make the change.
Wow. You are just a wealth of information, Dave. I'm excited about this cancer support community and the registry. I'm definitely going to participate in that and read through the report. What a fantastic resource. Being able to have something in hand that's real data and really useful is just such an incredible gift.
Well, one of the real concerns I personally have, and it's sort of my hobby horse that I ride, is how does a survivor reorient themselves to their new normal? And that's what I hope, Beth, you and I will talk about this month on our monthly broadcast of the transition period of how to get back into your new normal, how to have a second chance at living the life that you want. Whether it's a personal life, whether it's a working life, whether you're going back into education and schooling. There's so many different directions, and it's really hard to get going because there's so many things that hold you back. I mean, I had a lot of difficulty last year because I had body image issues that I had to overcome because of my ostomies. I had chemo brain residual, and so I couldn't think clearly and couldn't orient myself effectively. I had lost my purpose and meaning in life and was questioning who am I and what am I doing and where am I going. I mean, there were just so many Lego blocks that in my personal case were just disassembled, unassembled everywhere. And man, I wish I had had a coach to help me walk through the reassembly of who is Dave and get me going again. And I'm just feeling that now, that I'm using the skills that I have in the work world. I'm using the skills that I've discovered I've gained through the cancer treatment program, that I can blend things together in a new way with new attitudes and new values to get a second chance at living. So I'm hopeful Beth and I are going to talk about this in this month's show. But she's gone now. I don't see Beth in my list. She left the film strip. Are you still there? I see you in the viewer list, Beth. Are you able to make a comment, or have you had to exit? Not quite sure.
Dave, I'll comment on Casey's post because Casey is someone that I have coached.
Yep.
And she has a similar background to me, working in higher education, and she has a counseling degree. And as she's trying to figure out what's next for her, because she really just finished treatment, she is looking into cancer coaching as something she might be interested in. And I think she'd be really talented at it. And I guess her question is really around, I wish there was someone else here to answer it now. But happy to hear your thoughts on if she can do this without any further coaching certification or training. Because, you know, obviously with a counseling degree and her personal experience, I definitely think she can. And I know that there are varying opinions out there about whether it's important to be certified or not. I don't know how much this has come up in your conversation, but maybe you have something you can add to answer her question.
Oh, for sure. Casey, don't stop. Give me a call as soon as you can, and I'll show you some of the options, because I think certification is important if you don't have any credibility and any knowledge, because the various training schools are out there to help you. I mean, if it depends on what kind of help you want to bring to the cancer patient. Obviously, if you're a nutritionist or a healthcare professional who really understands nutrition and diet and lifestyle change, then the cancer training program that Jeanette offers is a great one for education and certification. But if that's not where you want to go, then you probably saw in our partners list, we have a strategic relationship with the Canadian Institute of Stress. They're an international body that was started with Hans Selye, the leader in handling stress-related issues. And they have a variety of programs and will certify you to deal with the biopsychosocial issues that are there. And then there are the various coaching groups that will give you the coaching skills that you may or may not need. So, I mean, in an ideal world, when you work with a patient, you're going to need some hard knowledge about cancer, the problems, the pain points, and how to solve them. And so knowledge in that area is important. But if you've got a counseling background, you've got some understanding of the psychosocial issues, then that gives you a step up so that now it's, how do I help a person? Do I have the skills to actually coach someone? Because coaching is different than doing a therapy session. It's different than doing a treatment program. So once you understand what it is that you're going to offer to the client, then you can decide, do you need 2 years of coaching, training, and certification, or do you need a 30-day training program to give you the basics of coaching methodologies and coaching protocols, so that when you work with a cancer, you can uncover their needs, you can match it against a solution that you're knowledgeable in, and can effective change. Because it's really helping a person move through a journey. Where in the cancer hospital, when I went to the psychosocial department, it was a treatment protocol. Hey, Dave, you're stressed out. What can we do today? Let's tell you about full body meditation. Let's talk to you about MBSR. Let's talk about a particular intervention strategy that'll deal with the problems you're facing today. Well, that's great. But when I'm now moving on in life, I need someone who's a coach who will help me move through to reach the goals that I set for myself. I may even need someone to help me assess the goals, as I was mentioning with Beth, that I had some real problems last year of trying to reassign in my head, what is it that I want to do? Well, do you need certification to do that effectively? That's a big question mark. I'm a psychologist, so I'm lucky. I've got the psychology, behavioral science perspective, and I'm also a trained career coach, relationship coach, and business coach. So I've got certifications in there. But I gathered those over years. It wasn't something that I suddenly said, oh, I better do that today. There's ways of moving on. And there are ways that you can go on with a mentorship. There are organizations who will be your professional guide and mentor as you work with the cancer client, so that you're actually got a team approach where you're working with them day to day, but any of the professional issues that you think you're lacking, you lean on the mentor to help you out. So by all means, this is a field you should jump into. There are 17.5 million people like us who are survivors right today searching for help, 7,000 of which we just saw in that study. There's a huge amount of people looking for help on a variety of different levels, and you're going to be able to find your niche. And if you're struggling with that, just give me a shout, and you and I will get to do some brainstorming of how can you move forward. Do not stop. We need you, Casey. We need you. How's that, Tracy?
Perfect, Dave. Well done. Thanks.
Any other comments or questions or anything? We went way over our time limit today, but that's the whole point of just to hang out and talk about things that are of interest to us and share our great words of wisdom to the people who will watch the replay. Anyone with any other comments or questions or anything that you want to raise before we close out for this Thursday session?
Good stuff, Dave, as usual. Thank you so much for hosting this.
Well, looks like that's the end of the day. So, okay, folks, thanks very much for coming. Tracy, good to have you there. I hope you enjoy the West Coast. Portland's a great place to be in, and Beth's back in the list. So, Beth, we were talking a lot about what you and I hopefully will be doing on this month's big live broadcast. So you and I have got to set up a time to talk about that. So there you go, folks. Thanks for coming. I love having you here and hope it's a good use of your time. We'll see you next Thursday at 4 o'clock, and certainly mark on your calendars the 26th of August, where I'm sure that Beth and I are going to do something. Perfect. Okay. We'll see you all. Take good care of yourself. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.